Hey guys, and welcome back to Game Nights. I'm Alynzari, and this is Hogwarts Legacy. Of course, we're still exploring Hogwarts itself, as I'm sure you guys have noticed.
Revelio.
This is video 7, no, this would be video 8 of exploration, video 32 overall, which is amusing. This is that symbol. Okay, so by the way, this is a secret, okay, and we need that one. Okay, now we got that one secret with the fires earlier. This is the other one. Now if you look at this, there's the fucking pendulum. I can't see the symbols. Symbols must be, yeah, there's the symbols. Okay, so it's
Arresto momentum.
okay. Like a fucking boss.
Revelio.
Okay, now, so yeah, this is video 8 of some hectic exploration of Hogwarts, right? Now, in the previous video, we were obviously discussing games in general, games worth playing, they have to have a story. And then we got to Mass Effect 2, or Mass Effect 1, then we got Mass Effect 2, you know how it goes. Anyway, we need a key for that. And I was explaining why Thane Krios and Legion were the best companions in the entire game.
Arresto momentum.
I think I missed it, sadly. Oh, yay! But they are just such great companions, and
Revelio.
of course, by taking them, you do not screw up your setup for the, when my brain wakes up, I think I came down here, yes, for the perfect ending, as in nobody dies when you explore the collector base, right? Now, for those of you who have played the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. Those of you who haven't, you go into the enemy base and you've got to choose what your companions do.
Accio.
The thing is that if you choose wrong, people die. This is fucking key. So yeah, if you choose wrong, people die. So you got to choose right. Take Thane Krios and Legion with you. They'll be fine. You then, the key here, it is here. Watch me fail at this key. You then make Garrus the leader of the second team. You can make Miranda the leader, but some of the people don't like Miranda. Everyone likes Garrus. That is why you choose Garrus to lead the second team. Okay? That is the most important thing. And third, who do you send back to protect the civilians, the crew that you've just rescued? And the answer, Morden Solus. And the reason Morden Solus goes back, some of those people need medical attention, he's the doctor. Now, that was always my reasoning behind it. At the same time, if you haven't do anything else, if someone fucking dies, okay, someone dies if you don't send Morden Solus back. Plain and simple, every time I play the game, Morden Solus not escort the crew, someone dies. And I never quite figured out why. And I assume it doesn't have to be him, but I always sent him. And I always got the perfect ending as a result. Okay? Now, I didn't have to Google who to send back, I just chose the team based on my preferences. And it worked perfectly. That was the first playthrough and I was happy with that. Later I did Google and see what kind of endings you could get in terms of who could do what, and it turned out that I'd already chosen the perfect combination. I'll need to get this fucking key in a minute. Then of course you've got Mass Effect 3 and my favorite companion, Garrus again, of course, because it's fucking Garrus. And who's the other one? Ashley was normally dead at the end of the first one anyway. Not because I didn't like Ashley, but because Caden was a more valuable character to me. He also had a better story in the third one, just saying. when you meet him in the third game. Fuck Yuki! So yeah, who was my other companion? Who were the other companions? I know that I took Edie on a few missions. I did like taking Liara. Oh yes, the Prothean. I always like taking Prothean with me. I didn't always take him, but he had some of the best fucking lines. Okay, now, in one of the missions, you are helping Rex. Now, there's a female Krogan who is immune to the genophage, and Rex wants you to rescue her in order to get the alliance with the Krogans, and so you rescue her. And if you take Liara and Garrus, okay? Like, you just listen to their side conversations. Like, ooh, don't want to fight that guy. And Garrus is like, there goes the next Shadow Broker. Because the previous Shadow Broker was one of those creatures. And Liara, who is the current Shadow, was like, not funny. Which was great. Okay? And then if you take Liara and the Prothean when you're doing the mission on Thessia, Liara gets so pissed off because her goddess is a fucking Prothean and she didn't know this shit, which is amazing. Okay? Like, it was so brilliantly done. And then afterwards Liara gets pissed off and she has this big fight with the Prothean. And he's like, you were supposed to protect us, why couldn't you protect us? And the Prothean was like, we thought you could, because we knew we would fail. And that kind of makes her realize that her people have not fulfilled their potential. And it was not the Prothean's fault, but her own people's fault for not fulfilling their own potential, which I thought was absolutely fucking brilliant. I mean, it's never explicitly said that way, but that was my understanding of it. And I love that, okay? Let me just focus on this key for a second. There we go. So yeah, there we have the Prothean, which was absolutely fucking amazing. Alright? Everybody loves Prothean. Like, Mass Effect 3 was absolutely amazing. And of course, Jack is a lot of fun in Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect 3 you don't really have her for a mission. And I actually liked what they did as her story. Because she was...
Arrest that momentum.
Fuck. I just fucked that up, didn't I? I did. Like... Jack was tortured as a kid to boost her biotic powers, and she got pissed because she thought the Alliance started over at the new school for biotic kids, and they hadn't. They had actually... My phone just dinged. Power's going out at a friend's place in an hour. Unlucky bastard. And she gets pissed because obviously she thinks that more kids are being tortured. And it turns out that it's an Alliance school designed to help biotic kids in a better way. And the simple fact that she becomes a teacher there... I just love that... Like... that aspect of the story, because here she is, quite literally the most powerful human biotic in existence, and with this rage from her youth. And you know what her greatest thing was? Helping the fucking kids. That's what she wanted to do.
Arrest their momentum.
And as much as she'd love to join you in your major battles, she would much rather stick around and help her.
Revelio.
And new secret found. Excellent, thank you for that. But that, for me, was quite possibly the best story decision they could have made for Jack. Like, what else could you ask? And so yeah, Mass Effect 3 was absolutely fucking phenomenal. Then of course you have Mass Effect Andromeda. Like, Mass Effect Andromeda got a lot of bad reviews. Let's be honest, there were a lot of bad reviews. I understand that the producers and the original game story designers and whatever had a falling out, and I get that. They had a falling out.
Lumos.
They got new people to make the game, and whatever. Okay? Now,
Revelio. Lumos.
so let's go and find it. I'm pretty sure it's out here. So yeah, they had the falling out, and they got a new design team, new graphics team, they outsourced some stuff, and that was okay. And for me, the moment I realized that not only was it a completely new game, it was designed to be a new game in the same universe, but the people who you were working with in Mass Effect Andromeda left the galaxy in the middle of Mass Effect 2, as in Liara was not the Shadow Broker yet. The other guy was
Revelio.
the Shadow Broker. Okay, that is the most important thing to realize. She was not the Shadow Broker. That means that you're still at least a year behind the times, maybe 2 years behind the times, in terms of Mass Effect when they left and Mass Effect 3 happens. Okay, so they don't know that the galaxy was damn near wiped out. They know shit was coming, but they didn't know what happened. That's the first thing. The second thing is, of course, that it's 600 years in the future, okay, and obviously we're in a different galaxy. Now, the standing theory is that regardless of universe or galaxy, physics is the same. However, that may not always be the case. I quite like the
Revelio.
Marvel Universe theory of your dream. Like, I've only watched half of the movie so far, but the second Doctor Strange, I've only watched half of it. Looks entertaining. Plan to watch the rest of it later, or another time, whenever. But the most important thing, dreams are pieces
Revelio.
of reality from another universe. You know, the whole multiverse thing, okay? So that nightmare where you're running naked from a cloud, at least that's what that poor bastard has as a recurring nightmare. It's really happening in another universe. That nightmare where you're at school and you're naked, that's happening in another universe. That dream where you can breathe underwater, happening in another universe. I love that. I love that idea. That also indicates that physics might not be exactly the same in another universe, which I have no problem with accepting as a possibility, regardless of how we perceive them here.
Aloha
At the same
Mora.
time, I found the race, the friendly race, whose name I can't remember now. But you kind of make an alliance with them. The race themselves were kind of a cardboard race for me.
Revelio.
Like,
What do we have here?
one of the best
demigod.
things about the Mass Effect series as a whole is that each race actually has their own culture and build and everything. That for me was one of the most important things about Mass Effect series. Like, the races were actually individual and different. You had... oh, I haven't picked up that one yet. The Asari, who lived for over 1,000 years
Mine
and are
now,
very
dummy
peaceful
guys.
people. You have the Krogan, who are very warlike people, also live for 1,000 years and immune to fucking radiation and
Revelio.
toxic air and all that stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. You've got the Solarians, who live for about 40 years. Evolved from lizards, who used to be flies,
and this is where they put
side, and are exceptionally intelligent, and truly believe in the idea of reincarnation. And the biggest part of their belief in reincarnation, their next life can be used to fix the mistakes they made in this life. I love that. I love that idea of reincarnating to fix your own mistakes. I think that's absolutely marvelous. I need to go downstairs and go to Professor Hackett's class. You've got the Vorcha, also live for 40 years, are completely insane, like they're aggressive as fuck, they are not very clever, they can be taught to do focused work. For example, you can teach them to be the most phenomenal fighter pilots in existence, but that's their only good skill. They're useless for anything else. You can teach them to be absolutely brilliant welders, but that's all they're going to be able to do. They can't do much else. They're like, you can focus train them, but you can't broadly train them, okay? Which I think is interesting. However, they're also immune to toxic gas environments. They're also immune to disease. Okay? Like completely immune to disease. Now, I don't know whether they're immune to disease because they live for such short times that the disease can't actually kill them, or if they're immune to disease simply because they're actually immune to disease. Either way, I think it's pretty cool. Block 3. So yeah, that is of course the Vorcha. Then you've got the... I can't remember their names now. But Garrus is one of them. And they're a military race. Their entire racial structure is built around military service. Okay, which is interesting. I still can't remember what the race is called, but that's what their racial structure is built around. Military service. And they have the most powerful military in the galaxy. They also have naturally growing in their skin metal plating like armor. So, individual races, I thought that was absolutely fucking brilliant. I love that. And then you get the new race in Mass Effect Andromeda. Not a bad race, they've got their electromagnetic whatever, and they can shock people and shit with whatever, but I really felt that the cultural background within the race was a little convoluted. As in predictable and not very intricate and interesting. And that's not to say that they're not an interesting race, simply that I didn't find them so. However, the most interesting part I found about their race, they were all clones. They were all made in the labs, which you find later on. And like, you gotta wonder, is the god of whoever created them and now vanished, which would be technically their god who created them, scientists who created them, did they go from galaxy to galaxy seeding life? Or were they just experimenting and they created this life and they decided to keep going with the experiment? That's what I'm curious about. And of course, you would hope that that would be answered in the next expansion, which isn't going to happen. Or it might happen, we don't know. Because there was talk about there being another one, but then there was no talk about there being another one. Now there's talk of it being on hold, or perhaps it happening in 2025, maybe. but we don't actually know, which I find rather disappointing, because I didn't look at it as a continuation of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, which are the originals. I looked at it
Revelio.
as a completely new game, which is what it was supposed to be, in the same universe. Kind of like a lot of people like Iron Man, and a lot of people like Thor, and like that was great. And then not a lot of people liked Ant-Man, which I thought was disappointing. Ant-Man was quite a lot of fun, shrinking and going huge and all that, brilliant. Not like the powers were kind of odd, but the story was good, and that was what's important to me, the story.
Revelio.
And so I looked at it as that. You've got new games, same universe, new game. So I had no problem with enjoying the game as a new game, because it was a new game, as I say. But most people couldn't get past the fact that they still wanted Shepard, they still wanted Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, and they couldn't get past the old game to enjoy the
Revelio.
game, which I found rather sad. On the same note though, you need to remember that Mass Effect Andromeda had a lot of errors in the graphic work. Like there was one point where I was playing the game, like facial features were plain and simple not very good. Let's be completely honest with that. Anytime you could see something where there was supposed to be a facial feature, it was not very good. Now they may have changed that with updates, I haven't played the game in a while, but I don't know. But there was one point where I was talking to someone on the ship, my main character, talking to someone on the ship, and the body's facing this person and the head is facing backwards. With a bad facial expression. Just throwing it out there. And that was probably the most disappointing part of the game as a whole. Before I actually got the game, I was watching someone else play. Can't remember who it was some chick.
Revelio.
And she wasn't bad at gaming. She got some mod that put Mass Effect or original 1, 2, and 3 music into her Mass Effect Andromeda playthrough. Maybe a mod, a DLC, or whatever the hell it was, I don't know. Which I found kind of sad because I had no problem with Andromeda music. One moment. But she apparently didn't like it. But she was playing the game, she was okay, not a great gamer, but not bad. And she got into the vault, I think, the vault. And like every single time she had to do one of those puzzles, she had to use this little hacking thing. And I found that kind of sad because A, those puzzles were super fucking easy, and B, it's basically Sudoku with symbols. Which, okay, fair, I find Sudoku really, really easy, but also it's 4 or 5 symbols. There's no 9. So you don't have to worry about 1 to 9, it's just 1 to 4 or 1 to 5. They were very fucking easy. So that for me was the most disappointing part of watching other people play Mass Effect Andromeda, because they struggled with what I found really, really easy. That said, I fuck up in combat here sometimes, so maybe I shouldn't talk too much. But yeah, so that, as I say,
Revelio.
my opinion on that particular aspect of the game.
I can't wait to watch you.
Now, I've got most stuff here, I think. Let's see. I'm in this section, and oh, we're missing 1 demiguise and 1 chest and 1 page. Chances are it's not there. I think I've already done the library. Let's head to potions class. What's that one? Central Hall, Divination, Library, Potions. Let's go to Potions. Okay, now I wanted to talk about Mass Effect 1 Legendary Edition in relation to their fuck up. Now the game itself, great. They did fuck up on the DLC. One of them wouldn't work, Pinnacle Station. I don't know if they've made an update to fix that, but Pinnacle Station didn't work. If it did work, you could have reached max level without difficulty on a single playthrough, which I think would have been nice from the simple standpoint of we've already played the game 100 times. Please can we not have to run through it twice just to get max level and progress to the second game? Which I'm going to be honest is actually why I've been really slow in finishing those other videos of Mass Effect 1, because I've played the game so no cat, you can't jump on the keyboard. Which is why I've been really slow at finishing those videos of Mass Effect 1 and 2 and 3 and an Legendary Edition. And the other side of it is my absolute dislike of how they changed the car, the Mako. Now, in the original Mass Effect series, like when the game first came out, the Mako was forward, back, left, right, and you only had forward, back, left, right. That was it. If you're going forward and you turn your camera to the left, you're still going in the same direction you were beforehand, forward. Whereas, when they decided to change shit up, and what the fuck was that? Decided to, you know, go into the Legendary Edition. Forward is whatever direction your camera is facing. So if you're going forward and you turn your camera to look to the side where the enemy is, suddenly you're going left and everything's fucked up. So, which I really didn't like. I really hated how they fucked up the controls of the Mako. So that was my biggest hatred for the Legendary Edition. They fucked up the controls for the Mako. I thought there was nothing wrong with the Mako. If you actually listen to the story, the Mako was supposed to be a really reliable, really stupid vehicle, as in it could climb and climb and climb. Drove like a brick, but it could climb. That was the whole point of the Mako. And when they updated it for fucking Legendary Edition, they removed the ability to climb. You now had rocket boots that helped you climb, but you couldn't climb naturally without the fucking rocket thing. Now, I say rocket boots, that's just what I call it. But basically, it would give you a little rocket boost so that you could climb, because now you can't climb without it, which I thought was rather sad. It kind of changed what the Mako was, and that was disappointing for me. There's a lock there, and like the vehicle in Andromeda, the controls were somewhat better than in the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect Origins, Mass Effect 1. The controls were better. You had the rocket thing, you could upgrade your vehicle. I liked that. I liked you upgrade the vehicle, change the paint job, all those things. I loved that. It was great. And I think that the Legendary Edition decided to edit the Mako to have it assist. One sec. I don't think I have any quests for her. To be more like the vehicle from Andromeda. I think that was disappointing. but for the most part, the game itself wasn't too bad. Obviously, you level up fast if you're playing legendary style, but you also get maxed out at level 30, which is fine. Then of course you've got Mass Effect Legendary Edition 2, which I have not managed to play yet because I haven't finished the second fucking playthrough of Mass Effect 1 Legendary Edition, because I like importing full level character, which of course ain't gonna happen until I finish the second fucking playthrough, which could take a while. On a different note though, I do plan on finishing it, and of course when I do I will continue uploading videos of my playthroughs. But at the moment I have actually been focusing on this, obviously Hogwarts Legacy, like a boss, and Fallout 4. I really enjoy Fallout 4 a lot, so I have 2 talents at the moment. I'll figure out what to put them in later. For now, let's just chat to this person, see if there's anything to say, and then we'll end this video after we chatted to her.
Professor, I wondered if I could ask how you came to Hogwarts.
I suppose that is not an unexpected question, after I told you about my time in Mahutokoro. It was a simple matter of fate, really. After my experience with the Toyohashi Tengu, I was determined to find work that would fulfill me. I accepted a position with the Japanese Ministry of Magic. I cannot tell you the specifics of my work. A few years into my post, I had the honor of working with Professor Weasley, at the time a curse breaker for the British Ministry.
Professor Weasley was a curse breaker for the Ministry?
She was. But I would advise you not to inquire upon it. She is quite clear that her focus is now Hogwarts. We coordinated, shall we say, defensive efforts on a particular matter, and were talking one evening about the rigors of our respective positions. She mentioned plans to return to Britain and Hogwarts specifically. I noted I could appreciate her decision. Her description of the school was so enchanting that when she wrote to me a few years later about the open position of flying professor, I was intrigued.
I suppose I can understand wanting to move on from all that you went through with the Tengu.
But that is not at all what happened. I was not moving on. What happened will always be a part of me. I learned from it. My reason for coming to Hogwarts was to expand my horizons.
Then you enjoy being a flying instructor, even after all that happened?
I do. And not despite all that happened, but because of it. You would do well to let lessons be just that, lessons. Learn from your errors, in judgment or otherwise. I am proud to impart such knowledge upon students, no matter where in the globe they may reside.
Okay, well, that was that. Thank you for watching my videos. Please like, please subscribe, you know the deal. I hope you enjoy yourselves. I hope you enjoyed my videos. And I will see you guys next time. Take care and enjoy.